So, welcome to another CMC podcast. Today, we're continuing on with our series in Meet the Instructor, and today we have joining us Dan Claridge. Dan.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, Doug?
Hey, good. Hey, thanks for joining us here. So, we'll jump right into it here. So, what got you involved in the fire service?
Well, I think I think public service was always in my thought process growing up. I remember, I played high school basketball, I played college basketball. And obviously, as I was getting towards graduating from college, I started obviously after thinking about what I wanted to do. I had been working construction during the summers and after college as well. And I remember in college when I was attending University of Washington, I was majoring in criminal justice. So I was kind of thinking going the FBI route. And with the basketball load, the school load, the social load, I wasn't doing very well in school, so I had to kind of readjust my path there. So I ended up majoring in sociology. What's funny about sociology, I think, is the only reason you major in sociology is to actually teach sociology. So I did graduate with a bachelor's degree. It wasn't in criminal justice, so the FBI route kind of got eliminated pretty quickly. And then I was looking into the police department. And, I was thinking about that and kind of looking at that. And then I ran into, obviously, my dad had been talking to, my dad went to church with a Kiwanis member for the city of Alhambra. So he was a businessman in the city of Alhambra. Well, in the Kiwanis Club, the fire chief is a part of the Kiwanis Club. So they had a connection there. And he got me a ride-along somehow. I honestly don't remember how all that transpired, but I got a ride-along with the city of Alhambra, a 24-hour ride-along. And I'll tell you right now, within the first 15 minutes when I walked in that fire station, I knew exactly that's what I wanted to do. Walking in the kitchen, seeing everybody, all the camaraderie, guys already telling jokes, getting breakfast ready, giving each other the business. I just knew right away. And then, looking over the rigs and all the equipment, I said, this is exactly what I want to do. So I knew from that moment that absolutely solidified my desire to become a firefighter. And, 20 years later, we're here.
Oh, man, that is an awesome beginning story there. So once you got your start, so you did that first ride along. So tell us about your career then. What happened after that?
So I got the ride along, and then I started the process through the community college, getting your basic classes, and then I was fortunate. I was working construction, and I was able to go to school, and then here's kind of another funny story. It might take a little more time, but I remember I was working on a construction project for this guy in San Marino, California, and we were building a studio room for him. And in his mind, and maybe this is true, I don't know if it is, but we had to polyurethane every single stud. And after we cut it, the blocking, he wanted all the ends polyurethaned. And then because it had to do something with the soundproofing of the room. And I remember doing that. Well, we would polyurethane the 2x4s and the 2x6s, and we try to get ahead of ourselves, right? So we'd paint we'd brush the polyurethane on, and then the next morning, all the lumber would be out of plumb and not straight anymore. So it was a very, very frustrating job. So I remember that day, I just put my hands up, said, I'm done. I'm going to go after getting into the fire service 100%. I'm giving it my all. So it's pretty fun. I remember the exact location and the exact day. And so I got my classes. I got all squared away. I did this last-minute job for a buddy of mine, made a decent amount of money, and I was able to pay for my basic fire academy out at Rio Hondo in Santa Fe Springs, California. Went to the fire academy, had a blast. It's a 3-month process there. Got my EMT, and then I got picked up with Alhambra because basically Alhambra sponsored me through the fire academy. So then I used that connection, and I went back and I did. I became a cadet for the city of Alhambra, 24-hour ride along once every week, so 4 times a month. And I just had a blast going there, learning everything. And then 10 months later, after I graduated the fire academy, I got picked up. So it was actually, 4 or 5 months past 9/11 is when I got hired. In February of 2002. So with that being said, I just had my 20-year anniversary in the fire service.
Wow.
So yeah, I got picked up with the city of Alhambra as a firefighter. I worked there. Fortunately, I was on the truck for about 6.5 of those 7 years, which got me a lot of great experience. They wanted me to go to paramedic school, but I decided to hold back. And then in 2008, I got picked up with my so-called dream department, which would be the Glendale Fire Department in Southern California, and that had been kind of my. I had played basketball as a young high schooler and kid with some of the guys from the fire department, so I kind of knew there was a connection there, and I knew I wanted to work there. It's kind of in my hometown, and I got picked up with them and got hired as a firefighter. Once again, worked on the truck for quite a few years, which was awesome, and then we changed our delivery service. So I ended up had the ability to go to paramedic school, which was an awesome opportunity. And I'm actually really glad I went. That's a whole new set of skills. So I did that roughly 2013-ish, became a firefighter paramedic. And then in 2018, I decided to promote, and I got appointed as an engineer. We call them engineers, not drivers. But and then most recently, January 6th of 2022 here, I got promoted to fire captain paramedic. So it's been a really good run. You know, I love the fire service. I've been teaching for about 15 years. I got my teaching start back at my old academy, Rio Hondo Fire Academy. I just absolutely loved that. You want me to go into more of the teaching stuff?
Yeah. Well. Actually, what rig are you on now that you're a captain? You're a paramedic, and you spent some time in a truck. So where do they got you assigned?
Yeah. So my first. So the way we do it in Glendale is 6 months on an engine, 6 months on a truck. So I'm at Fire Station 22, which is a pretty busy house in South Glendale. I oversee an engineer, 2 firefighters, and then we also have a BLS. So I manage basically 5 people. So. It's a good firehouse, gets a lot of good calls. It's busy, which is good. I'm very fortunate to have a really good crew, really good guys on my crew. Everybody's really motivated, and it makes my job a lot easier. So it's been a good transition.
Awesome, man. Congrats on the promotion too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so far a really good experience. You know, it's a new set of challenges. You know, you think differently, and I'm very fortunate to say that I'm glad I had those 20 years behind me. As just good experience level to kind of transition in this new position. So it's been super helpful.
Well, I think a lot of people would agree that being a captain is probably the best job there is in the fire service. So the best of all worlds there.
Yeah, I agree so far, but I also heard a lot of guys tell me that being a tiller firefighter was the best spot as well. So that was a pretty good. I've spent 13 years on a truck as a firefighter, so that was pretty good living there.
Yeah, good run. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good run.
So what are you involved in any specialty teams or anything within the county or the fire department?
Yeah, so our fire department, Glenda, we're part of what's called Regional Task Force 4. There's 12 regional task force in the state of California. There's 8 FEMA teams. So we run on a 30-person team, and this has been around. I was part of the inception when I was at Alhambra of putting that program together for Alhambra, and obviously made that transition because Alhambra and Glendale are in the same regional task force. So it's a 30-person team. We've been on 2 deployments. I've been on 1. We went to the Montecito mudslides. I know they don't like to call it that. There's another technical name for it, but when the mudslides happened in Montecito, that was our first deployment for all the RTFs. So I actually acted as the rescue team manager for our team out there. We were out there, I want to say, for 9 or 10 days. So that was a really good experience, a huge learning experience for the RTF because the first time we were deployed. I'm also part of myself and one other guy from captain from Monterey Park. We instituted the Area C REMS teams, which is rapid extraction module support. Basically, it's a like a mini USAR team, rescue team for wildland firefighters.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. We've been on 3 deployments there. That's starting to gain a lot of popularity and interest from many of the departments around us. It used to be a 2-person team. I was the first, myself and a firefighter from Glendale. We were the first 2 guys to go out as a REMS for Area C. And like I said, I've been on 3 deployments, and now they're 4-person teams. So we have 7 or 8 guys trained up for REMS. It's a pretty cool assignment. We train a lot. We do a lot of recon and scoping out the areas. And basically what's really cool is you're there for your brothers and sisters. You're a rescue team in case one of the guys or gals working on the line gets hurt. We got to go get them. So it's really a cool it's a cool mission. So
it sounds like kind of like the wildland equivalent of a RIT team.
Well, yeah, I would put it that way. Yeah, I've always kind of had it in my mind a little mini USAR team because we carry some we carry some extrication equipment, obviously mainly rope stuff. But like I said, it's just it's a really cool mission, I really believe in it wholeheartedly, and we've got to do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it sounds that way, and with the wildfire seasons you guys have had out there, unfortunately. A lot of action, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wildland season. I think it's pretty much all year now.
Yeah,
not good. It's been crazy out here.
Yeah. So, hey, kind of switching gears a little bit here. So, when did you start with CMC?
I started with CMC about 8 or 9 years ago. It's been an awesome experience. I really, really value my part-time employment with the rescue or with the CMC school. Like I was kind of getting into earlier, I've been teaching for about 15 years. I started at Rio Hondo. I actually started teaching with my old captain from Alhambra. I started teaching ladders. And then as I got down there, I didn't know I wanted to teach. It was just kind of because when I worked from Alhambra, we didn't have much overtime. So I continued to work construction throughout those years. And I got tired of it, and I wanted something else because we didn't have a lot of overtime, and 4 days seemed kind of long to me, so I got kind of bored. So I started teaching, and then that just absolutely took off. And like I said, I started teaching ladders for the Basic Fire Academy, and then that led into forcible entry, led into ventilation. Then you started getting into some of the specialty stuff. We had what's called a LARO class, low angle rescue. Started doing that, and then when I moved to Glendale provided me an opportunity to go. They knew I had done some teaching, not only at the Fire Academy, but some in the technical rescue world. So they approached me, and I was single at the time, so I had some time. They approached me to go work on all my what we call primary and senior task books for the state of California. And I said, sure, I'll do it. I did like 27 classes in 2 years. Like I said, wow. I had the time, and they gave me the opportunity. And born from that is I was doing so much teaching for the state and for area called NorthNet and the regional training groups and LA City Fire. I met some of our current employees, Alan Baker, who's been there at CMC for 20 plus years, Stan Kloffenstein, Wayne Chapman, who's our rescue school director. That's how I started getting connected with all those guys. And then I remember one trench class, I think John McKentley came down, our old school director, and I introduced myself, and then Alan and Wayne and Stan put in a good word for me. And funny thing is I actually lived about 5 or 6 blocks from John McKentley. He lives in Glendale, California too. So that meeting went really well, and then here I am, and it's been an awesome experience. So I mean, I'm so fortunate and so blessed and to be a part of this organization, and especially the school.
Yeah, that's great. Another great story. So
yeah.
Hey, so since you started with CMC too, you teach quite a few things.
Yeah, I do. So for CMC, we obviously started with the Rope 1-2 curriculum, and I got signed off fairly quickly on that. So I've been doing that, and then I've been teaching confined space as well. I'd been working myself in the primary and senior ranks in confined space with the California State Fair curriculum, but that kind of transitioned pretty easily into CMC stuff. And then I've also taught several trench courses for CMC. So that's kind of my main 3 right now: Rope 1-2, confined space, and trench. I do want to teach Rope 3 at some point, but there's no rush. I'm envisioning that's going to happen hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years, whatever it may be. But I teach we call it Rope Rescue Technician. in the state of California, so I teach that as well here. So definitely getting a lot of reps, very, very busy. But CMC, being able to teach for CMC and going to the different sites, I've been able to teach across the world. I've taught in China. I've taught all over the United States, and just what an awesome opportunity to teach at different locations. That's different from what I see at a normal training center. So I find a lot of value in that and getting better as an instructor, being able to have those different opportunities and scenarios where you're teaching.
Right. And then you do some contract classes too, so you actually get to go out on like industrial sites and everything too, right?
Yeah, I started that process. I don't have a major background in that, and that's what I'm in industrial. But I've been fortunate to start to get out on some of those, so I'm kind of learning the ropes and learning the lingo and learning how everything works and how their rescue teams work. And it's been a pretty easy, smooth transition. That's why I like going to different places, because you learn a bunch of different things and the way people do things. So it's once again just an awesome opportunity to get better not only as an instructor but as a firefighter as well.
Yeah, you're right, and you're right. Yeah, I think sometimes people forget we learn just as much, right? When we go out, especially all these different sites, hydroelectric dams, chemical plants, sewer plants. I mean, all over the place. There's so much that we learn too.
Absolutely. There's a whole world that I didn't even know existed, working for little old Alhambra, little old Glendale. But it really opens your eyes when you get out of your comfort zone, so to speak. But hey, it's new challenges, always learning something new. It's like I said, it's awesome.
Excellent. So what do you like most about teaching?
I think just making that impact on people. And I always felt like, if I'm able to hear a story, or somebody calls me up or emails me or tells me, hey, we used some of the things that you taught me on this call and it went really well. I don't necessarily have to do the actual rescue, but if, obviously rescues are, what we like to do, and, helping people out and saving people for a positive outcome. But when I hear it from somebody else where they use the skills that we, as a company or value, or the techniques or methods that we value, and they use that on a certain call to affect a positive outcome on a rescue, I think that's just one of the most amazing things. And that makes you feel good. It really does. And just affecting people that way. And I've always been a huge just a big supporter of the firefighter camaraderie. And, and like I said, going out to these different places, learning different ways of doing things, and being different types of rescues, whether they're SAR, industrial, whatever it is, and having that camaraderie and that bond, and being able to pass along the information that I've learned and that I value and that I see important to our students is huge. I don't have that engineer type mind, or that I'm not going to invent anything, but I can take the information, and I guess I have a decent way of delivering that information to the students. But, I try to make it fun. We have a good time out in the classes. We challenge them. I like challenging people. I want them to challenge me. And that's how I think we all get better as as rescuers, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. So, and it's funny listening to all the stuff you're doing here. This next question is almost kind of a moot point, but yeah, in your spare time when you're not working or teaching, what do you like to do?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not too busy. I guess having 4 kids doesn't make you that much more busy. No, we have a very full life. I have a beautiful wife. We've been together for 12 years. Been married for 6 of those years. We have 4 beautiful children. Right now, they're 15. My oldest daughter's 15. My son's 13. And then I have 2 more daughters who are 10 and 4. So wow. There's no doubt we have a busy household. A lot of my kids are involved in sports, and they're doing really well in school, and we're very active. We do a lot of camping. We do a lot of hiking, fishing, outdoor stuff. My son plays baseball, football. My daughters play volleyball and water polo. So we definitely have a full household. My wife is definitely does the lion's share of the work, but it's definitely a team effort when it comes to the Claridge family, no doubt about it. So Yeah, it's a balance. It's a
Yeah.
balance. We're a single income household, so I provide the money and all the work, and my wife, like I said, takes care of the kids and runs the household. So once
Oh,
again, it's a good mesh. It's a good match, but it does require balance and a lot of patience and a lot of planning. Um, but you know what? I think this is what kind of makes who I am. I have the
hmm
ability to manage that, and I have all my calendars and scheduled out, and but it's good. It's a challenge to sometimes create that balance, but if you do, I think it can be very successful.
yeah.
Uh,
And,
and
yeah, I know at Grimp last time I had an opportunity to meet your family, and you
yeah,
have an awesome family. So
yeah. It's obviously without my family, I couldn't do the things that I do. All the credit goes to my wife and allow me to, have pursued my dreams and all my, things that I've been doing. So
yeah, it's great to have that support. Yeah.
it is, and she gets it. She knows that. I mean, firefighting and being a rescue instructor. I mean, it's not work. It's a passion, and for her
Yeah.
to understand that and allow me to go out and do the things that I like to do. It's. I mean, what a life! It's awesome. It's
Yeah,
good stuff.
exactly.
Good stuff.
So, well, and actually, you said the word passion. Yeah, the kind of the next question is there anything in tech rescue you've got really strong feelings about?
Oh, I think something that I've learned. I've taught. I teach at the Rio Hondo Truck Academy. Whether it's Truck Academy, Truck Ops, whether it's Special Ops, whether it's Technical Rescue, Hazmat. I think what I've learned the most is. I don't know if I guess I'm passionate about it, but I think it's teaching people to do the little things the right way. I think sometimes we pass up some of the basics, but the basics is the foundation of everything we do. If we can't put a simple system together or a simple anchor system together, talking ropes, that's just going to lead to bigger problems down the line. So I always try to, in some of our classes, we get so advanced and we show so much stuff to the students, which is awesome. I'm not going to, it helps me become a better instructor. But I want our students, to walk away with the basics and I have an understand, teach them to a high level here, it's kind of hard to show you on a podcast, but you teach them at the best you can at a technician level, but hope they just nails at an operational level. You know what I
Right.
mean? Does that make
Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
make sense? Yeah.
Exactly. Finding that right balance. Yeah, you're right.
Finding that balance and having the students take away. Well, I can really use this. Well, I want to get good at this. That's what's important to me, and making sure that that information and those methods and techniques gets passed on to the student. You know, you know what I mean? It's just getting
Yep.
those basics down. So the little things, because the little things always tend to screw up the rescues, right?
Right.
Maybe not on the front end, but definitely on the back end.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
if we-
think. Yep.
go ahead.
Oh no, well, I was going to say I think you hit it right on the head where you kind of compared tech rescue to firefighting, where there's a lot of advanced skills, a lot of advanced stuff, but ultimately it's basic skills that gets you out of trouble.
It really
That's what's
does.
going to save your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I've seen, and it's the same thing whether it's training with the tech rescue teams or training with the REMS team. If we can get the basics done right, then that's going to just provide much more opportunity for a positive outcome for the victim or the patient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you see in the future for technical rescue?
Man, there's some stuff coming down the line. Once again, like I said earlier in the podcast, I don't have that engineer's mind. I can learn the information, take the information, and pass it along. I think that's where I'm kind of good at, I guess. Obviously, lighter, stronger, faster seems to be going the way. The diameter of these ropes. We've been working with some of the power cord stuff and the small diameter. I mean, it's just crazy some of the stuff we're able to put together. Even our new, I think you and I were talking about the Mamba slings coming out, the Texora, all the different items that are coming out. It's pretty fun to watch where all this stuff goes. Once you think you got something mastered, then something else comes up. Like I said, I don't have that type of brain that can kind of think farther than the clutch. I think the clutch is an amazing tool, piece of equipment. I don't know where we go from there. Obviously, you can tweak it a little bit, but man, I don't know. I just I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. That's for maybe somebody else to figure out. But You know, we talk about this story all the time. It's like we just bought a bunch of MPDs. You know, am I going to switch to the clutches now? MPD is still a great device, and now, are we going to get new clutches? The clutches is by far an awesome device, but what's the next thing?
Yep.
I just got all my guys trained up on the MPD, and now I got to go buy 30 more clutches and get them all trained up. So it's this perpetual, it's just this consistent cycle that just keeps happening. But yeah. Just a lot of the new equipment and working that stuff in and seeing where it applies. That's kind of where I see the future of that stuff going.
And that makes sense. And that seems, it's funny, as we ask this question of the different instructors, you hit her, I mean, pretty much that everyone is, lighter, stronger, faster. That seems to be the trend, man. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's really amazing what some teams out there, private teams, SAR teams, whatever they're doing, they're playing with this stuff and the things that they do with this smaller diameter rope and smaller equipment, and it makes sense because you gotta, especially like going back to that REMS thing, you gotta haul that stuff in. You want it to be light, so it really is amazing how a lot of this stuff has come a long way.
Yeah, you're right. We're fortunate in the fire service. We usually don't have to carry it too far.
Right, exactly. But when you're hauling that stuff in a couple months, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's been kind of cool to see that myself. Once again, transitioning from obviously an urban fire department, and you go out on these REMS teams, and it's a different animal. It's a different.
Yeah, it's got to be really cool to kind of see both sides of
it is
of
it
the
is.
state. Yeah,
it is. So so
awesome.
that's what I would probably say. That's what's exciting about that.
Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to sit down and record the podcast. Hopefully, our students and prospective students will get a chance to know you a little bit better, and I think it makes it a little easier for everyone if you know you've got something in common.
Yeah,
and that's something you always do an exceptional job of. Is you really bond with the students extremely well. So
yeah. Well, we get to spend 40 hours with them, and hey, might as well have some fun with it and get to know each other and talk it up, and that's all part of the experience. The more people you can affect, and the more contacts you can make, and it just makes for a better. We're all in this together, right, Doug?
Yeah.
I mean, what
exactly.
What are we really trying to do here? We're trying to affect people's lives and save people's lives, and if we can all do that, work together to do it, to make that happen. Hey, man, that's a good thing.
Yep. You know what? We can't end on a better point than that, so I'm going to leave it right there. So thanks again, Dan, and join us again for another CMC podcast.
All right, thanks very much. I appreciate the opportunity, and looking forward to seeing all the students out there. So, CMC all the way.